going on? Yo, what's going on? Fred Collins Jr. here. Suburban Wasteland, back at it again. Got a whole bunch of time lapse for you today. Bunch of random stuff. You can see right now, it's the creation of me, once again. It was originally created in 1990 by a 17-year-old teenager in a comic strip known as Suburban Wasteland, which documented the tales of me and my family. I later went on to have my own comic strip, Fred Collins Jr. And now here I am, reborn, 30 years after the fact. I've blurred out the face of my creator here. He was using pictures of his own hands for reference. For this little doobie here I'm smoking on, puff 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 give. I ain't giving it to nobody, who's just here by myself. Up next we've got a design of the Great Omi, who was a famous sideshow circus man back in the day. And then of course the infamous idol from Indiana Jones. My creator loved doing this kind of stuff as a teenager, taking a picture, transferring it into a black and white image. Back in the day, would take onion paper, trace over a picture from a magazine, apply that onto blank paper, kind of come up with your own idea of where the blacks go to create all the shadowing. Very cool effect. Gotten back into it again. Here we've got Black Belt Jones design made off of a couple flyers. If you didn't know, Black Belt Jones is a little underground indie live rap band from the 90s. My creator was a member of. I'll throw a link in the description. Now here we've got a nitrous design that the creator's son drew for his band. And when your kid asks you to take his drawing and turn it into something real, you do it, damn it. You can see he was struggling here a bit with the S. Wasn't really happy with the design. Took a lot of playing around to really get that and nail it. But alas, there it is, the nitrous. And here we've got a cool little creepy crawl spider, tarantula, Charles Manson face on it. Really like this design, just kind of wanted to redo it, clean it up a bit. And yes, once again, tracing. Probably imply that there's no artistic involvement here, but you could easily draw this stuff from freehand. Just in the digital age, it's so much quicker and easier to trace something instead of the whole trial and error of getting your outline drawn the way you wanted it. Now this here was a tattoo design that was incomplete and needed some color reference. So I was just doing a quick little color job, give the client an idea what the tattoo would look like roughly. Cool little broken sugar skull butterfly thing going on. This is just a very quick sketch to give an idea of what the color would look like. And again here we've got another tattoo design. It was a massive cover-up, and this was actually a chameleon in a tree. And again, just doing a quick color reference to give the customer an idea of how the tattoo would look when it was finished. That was very fun, challenging design. See me playing around with the moon there for a bit. It really took me a minute to get the moon the way I liked it. And what do we got here? The infamous Captain Spaulding. You know, once again, just doing a little graphic over top of a photograph, turning it into a drawing. Decided not to go black and white on this one like I normally do, but threw in some color. Everybody loved Captain Spaulding. Sid Haig, rest in peace. This was actually right after he passed away. Wanted to pay a little homage to the late great actor. Very slept on actor. One of my favorite actors. Never seen the movie Spider Baby or The Maddest Stories Ever Told, you should check that out. Now here we've got a Run the Jewels design, but this was inspired by the film Monster Squad. So I wanted to have the Wolfman who gets blown up by dynamite, his blown off hand. You can see that this just basically traced over the original hand from the Run the Jewels design, turned it into a Wolfman. We've got the amulet there for Monster Squad. Used two different pictures of the amulet here, one for the frame, one for the stone. And of course, who needs that amulet? Dracula. We're doing the Dracula hand here. See, I use a lot of different pictures for reference just to get things the way I want it. Again, like I said, it's just so much easier these days to excuse me, be able to trace over something quickly, get your idea down instead of having to draw over and over until you nail it. Here we've got Coconut Pete. Sea Shanties and Wet Panties. What a great album title. If you're not familiar with Coconut Pete, he is from the film Club Dread, portrayed by late great actor Bill Paxton. Another one that we have to give a rest in peace shout out to. Gone from this earth much too early. Classic actor. The only actor that was ever able to boast being murdered by the Terminator, Predator, and the Xenomorph from Alien. No other actor on the planet can say that they've been killed by all three of them. I suppose Mr. Paxton can't say that anymore either, being that he's not here anymore. But classic movie, classic actor, and had the idea one day to start doing some of his CD covers. So that we did. And here is former US President Donald Trump. What a gong show that was. I'd seen some artwork of Ronald Reagan. I believe it was Jason Edmonston that did it. Great artist, should look him up if you've never heard of him. And it was Ronald Reagan with the They Live type motif going on. And after Trump got signed into office, I thought, we need a piece of artwork like this. They live, Trump lives. So you can see again, I used a bit of photo reference, pretty much just freehanding all the musculature in the face, the skeletal lower jaw. Used a few different pictures of a few different They Live masks and references from the movie, just to kind of get everything laid out the way I really wanted it. This was a really fun design. I actually ended up submitting this later on to a Fuck Trump campaign that was going on, people submitting artwork. And it was kind of funny, somebody had actually accused me of stealing this design from somebody, and they had mentioned that to the people running the site, and they just kind of played yes men and nodded to them, and I had to actually send them a time lapse of this to show them, hey, this is my creation. Sure, I might have traced a little bit of things, but this is my creation. Now here we've got a sketch I did of Jason Voorhees from Friday the 13th Part 2, kind of done in a new wave style of artwork, which the old Suburban Wasteland comic strip I was in was a very new wave style. So this was actually an old picture on paper, photographed, brought into the iPad, and wanted to do a newer, cleaner version of this. And it was a lot of fun. I was always a big fan of this drawing. Some things about it didn't sit right with me, so it was just kind of nice to redo it, change a few things up along the way, changed a bit of the hair and stuff, but again, decided to do some stippling, or shading with dots. Again, it's a little more time consuming, but just has such a timeless look to it. It was very fun. This design is actually available on Blood Brothers website for purchase. You get it on a t-shirt, coffee mug, a hoodie, phone case, laptop bag, wall hanging, stickers, buttons, all kinds of cool stuff. So if you're interested in that, I will leave a link in the description to the Blood Brothers store. And I think this drawing originally The creator's son asked his father to draw Jason for him and wanted to have some fun with it. And this was the actual outcome. Okay, I didn't feel like anything was moving there for a second, but I believe it's the little red blood splats in the background. We got some skin tones coming in now. Not sure why I went black there. Probably negative space underneath the original picture. We've got a bunch of blood dots coming in now to fill the border up. And I believe I did somewhat of a green slime around the border. Yeah, there we go. This was a really fun design. Just playing around with the circle tool, do all these little dots. It was a bit time consuming, but gave it a really cool look in the end. And up finally here we have a postage stamp design that was done for an album cover or CD cover, whatever you want to call it. And this was a collaborative hip-hop project between rapper/producer Donny G and KABAL, who you may have noticed was courteous enough to supply us music for the last episode. This episode we're going to be using the music of GRIFT. And again, we'll have a link in the description for that if you want to check out GRIFT. So this was a project called MALICE. And again, you can see taking two photographs, but doing it in a little more of an edged out style, harder lines. Kind of has a bit of a realism to it, but tried to do something different here. Tried to find two photos that were relatively similar in scale to have that whole side by side with the half face and the half face. And I'd actually done an old design of this a long time ago, just with photographs though, and a little bit of photoshopping, and it looked alright, but at some point along the line they decided they wanted to go with something illustrative as opposed to photographic. So we gave another stab at it, and was quite happy they suggested that, because I think it looked a lot cooler, turned out a lot better in the long run this way. A little bit of time consumption here, really just with the facial hair, stubble if you will, on Mr. Donny G. But it was a really fun project to do and to work on. They put out a EP MALICE. I think it's maybe about 10 songs or so. Again, I'll have a description for that I'll have a link for that rather in the descriptions below. Check out MALICE. It's pretty heavy stuff. Just a couple white boys doing their thing. No boundaries, no borders. Just making the kind of hip hop they want to make. And looks like we're pretty much done here with lining. Oh, some cross hatching coming in the neck there. A little more dots, a little more stubbles. Always seems to be the most time consuming part is doing the black. Once the black's all in, color goes relatively quick, especially if you're using a paint bucket dump option. I tend to do a lot of my coloring by hand instead of dumping with the paint bucket tool, as it just feels a little more artistic to me to put the time and effort into it of coloring everything in. We're down to black here. I'm not sure exactly what's on. Red border is back. I believe this one is getting pretty close to completion. And that's about it for MALICE. That's about it for us today here at Suburban Wasteland. We thank you for joining once again. Please feel free to share, like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, all that good stuff, and we'll see you next time to see what's going on.